eBay friends. This is episode number 256 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is February 11th, 2026. My guest is Danielle in Las Vegas. No announcements this week, so let's go straight into the conversation with Danielle.
Hey, eBayers! Today, my guest is Danielle, and I picked her out from the Money Making Mondays because her sales are really good. So, we're going to talk about that. How are you doing? Well, it's morning for you.
Yeah, it's really good. It's I'm in Vegas, so it's always really sunny all the time, pretty much. Yeah.
So, is it true what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas?
I guess so. I've been here only less than a year, so
Okay.
yeah.
So, eBay has quite a few events in Vegas. Like over time, they seem to pick that area because it's close to them in California. Nothing over here on the East Coast. Maybe randomly over the last 10 years they had something, but so you're in a good spot to do any of those events. Did you do the one last August?
Yeah, I went usually I've just kind of participated remotely, but
Uh-huh.
I was able to go to eBay Open and then I go to one that's local here in Vegas, that's hosted by the leaders for the Seller Circle for Vegas.
And so who's that? Who are the people?
That's Vicky and Katie Silverberg.
Okay. I don't know that I'm familiar, but now I am. So,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
They're very involved in the eBay community.
Okay. Great. Good. So you have some good resources there.
Yeah, it's a very strong community, kind of also like friends with the other leaders, and it's more in the South Bay of Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay. So you're well
they're,
connected.
yeah,
Good.
yeah, yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, let's backtrack and talk about when you started eBay and why did that happen?
Yeah, I started back in 2017. My previous career was in entertainment. I was a production designer. So design all the sets and get all the
Mm-hmm.
props and set decoration. And so that was kind of my first taste into like shopping at thrift stores, pawn shops, and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and
you would go out and find props and stuff needed for the productions.
yeah, exactly. But
Okay.
it's sort of like the opposite end of like we look for very different things. Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we don't need electronics that work, or
Mm-hmm.
we really don't want to show brands, or a lot of times we want things worn. So it's a very different shopping experience when you're shopping to sell versus shopping for.
Absolutely. And we can revisit that in a little bit after we talk about some other things, because I would love to know, and I'm sure the listeners would love to know what kind of things you're looking for, and do you ever buy them online? That helps us be better sellers if we know what you're looking for.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay,
We'll come
great.
back to that.
So you have been selling almost 10 years. Next year will be your 10th year. So
Yeah, yeah.
you've
It
been at
flew
it for,
by, to be honest.
yeah.
Well, so I with the entertainment business, I don't think people understand. It's like it's a very gig-based type of career. And so it can be very unstable and long hours. So I was trying
Mhm.
to find really something on the side to do to make extra money. And I was actually more interested in becoming like a Amazon seller first. And
Mhm.
I went to a seminar and thinking I was gonna try to get into Amazon, but they actually helped me sell my first item on eBay when I was there.
Okay.
So I sold my old iPhone and had to learn how to like disconnect it and then like I went to, like a Staples and I found some like drop stops for the car. And they were
Mhm.
like $2. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. So I bought almost all of them and I sold them within like a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, I was hooked. And then I started off with just selling stuff I had around the house, like old props I had. And so that's kind of like where my store, second story, kind of came from, is that like, all these items have a story to tell. They've been used by so many different people. So then now they have like a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's kind of how I started. And then, I thought I was being very smart and not knowing that like a lot of people did this, but in the reselling community where in LA, at that time when I started, they had dollar days on Thursdays. And I felt like I just hit the jackpot where I was like turning a dollar into 20. And I was like, that was kind of like my first discovery with that I was like, oh, I can go on Thursdays and get all the dollar items and flip those. And so that's kind of how I started. And I dabbled a little bit in retail arbitrage and didn't really love it too much. And then once I discovered the bins, and that's kind of where I really kind of discovered how I can really turn, a dollar into, or a couple dollars into $100. And then the rest is history. So,
Well, that is a great perspective because so many people think that eBay is just about those high dollar items. And even sometimes when I ask people to come on the podcast, they're like, well, I don't really sell all these expensive things like others on the group. And, I don't sell, I've never sold $100 item and this and that. And it doesn't matter because eBay is a lifestyle. It's how you approach it. And I sell a lot of $20 items that I get for a dollar or 50 cents. And one $20 item a day is $600 a month.
yeah,
So,
it really adds up.
and if you
Yeah.
add it up over a year, it's what, $7,000, 365 days, $20 a day. And if you look at the long term, I think a lot of people who are new to this are looking for the big scores and the big dopamine hit you get when you make that $100 sale. And let's see, this is my 23rd year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, you've been doing it long enough to know this already, but it's just everything adds up. And
Yeah, it really
if
does.
you don't restrict yourself to just those super high dollar things, you can still make it. Now, let me ask you, is it just you in your household?
Yeah, it's just me.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a single woman
Yeah.
too, and every dollar matters when it's just one of you. I'm glad that you're not beating yourself up about, oh, I only sell mostly $20 items, but you sell things that are worth a lot more too. We're going to get to that. But just for the listeners, reassuring them that every sale adds up.
Yeah,
And
and I
so,
think in this economy right now, I think most people are comfortable within, I'm noticing either it's like under 20 or 25,
mhm.
or they spend over 70, I would
Like that
say. Yeah.
Rolex tie you posted.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Let's
that I
talk
found
about
here
that
in
one.
I found that here in Vegas actually,
Uh-huh.
for a quarter. And so
Yes.
once I found that, I was like, and I saw the price, I was like running out of the store because I was like, okay, there's, and then
And what did it sell
yeah,
for? 100 and something?
about 200
It was
with
like
all said and
175 because
done.
it was on my business
Yeah.
page recently. And
Yeah.
that's when I was like, yeah, I got to reach out to you because I kept seeing things like that over time. It's like, boy, she's really good at this.
Well, like I feel like I feel like I take the skill for granted, that it really is almost a skill and a gift combined. Like you have
Yes.
to really have a good eye, understand like what's a good price, as
Hmm.
as thrift store prices keep going up. And then but I think having my entertainment background helped,
Hmm.
because a lot of people don't know that a lot of times when we're on these shows, we're on a very tight turnaround. So
Hmm.
we're always like trying to find these items like, within 24 hours, sometimes within the hour. So I always say that like, entertainment and resellers it's almost like a perfect marriage if you
Hmm.
kind of know one another, because a lot of times in entertainment, sometimes if we're looking for something very specific, we'll pay up just so
Hmm.
we can get that item right away. But I think having done that for years, it kind of trained my eye to kind of know what's valuable, what isn't. And sometimes it's just a gut feeling too. Like sometimes you feel something and whether it's where it's made from, the fabric content or the tag or things like that, you kind of understand over
Yeah,
time that
I'll be the first one to say, listen to that intuitive nudge. And worst case scenario is you can sell it for what you bought it for. But sometimes you get that intuition and listen to it. It's there for a
yeah,
reason. And don't second guess yourself. Go with that gut feeling. Like it's like on these game shows where people are asked a question and they overthink it, and just go with that first thought, that first impulse, because it's usually right. And
yeah, exactly.
so you said your work in the entertainment business gives you better perspective than people that don't work there. I call that putting on your eBay glasses
Yeah.
because we just we see the world differently. Everything's an opportunity, and that comes over time. I'm sure you'll agree that this is your ninth year, and you know way more than you did when you started. And some
I
of that
do,
is
and then yeah, I also feel like I also have to constantly learn, like because I think my main category is like men's clothing, women's clothing,
Mhm.
and shoes. So it's always changing over time, and it's interesting to see how fashion comes full circle again, where
Mhm.
I I just sold a dress that I found trying to clean up my parents' house that was from like the early 2000s that I don't
Uh-huh.
even know if I wore it, but it's just funny how now that's in style again. And so seeing how a lot of what I used to wear back in high school and college is now back in style. So
Yeah, they call that aesthetic Y2K.
yeah.
So what did the dress look like?
It was kind of like red, black, metallic, kind of they call it whimsy goth, so it's kind of
Okay.
yeah. So
I
that's
did not know that one. That
yeah,
sounds, it's a combination of goth and maybe princess.
yeah, exactly. It's like a fairy whimsy goth kind of
Uh-huh.
style that's
Okay.
like really popular right now. So that I'm trying to actually get into selling on Depop too. So I've
Hmm.
made so far from the end of this and last year 13 sales. So my goal is to get at least get up to 1,000 and make 1,000 on there. So since I'm brand new there, so
Do you remember the
yeah,
brand of the dress?
it didn't have a brand.
Okay.
So what's
Okay.
what's important to know about at least with Y2K, what's nice is it doesn't have to have a brand that
Right. It's
stands
a
out.
style.
It's
Mhm.
the style that matters.
Well, I
So
was going to
yeah,
guess if it was Hot Topic because I know those can go for a lot. It's kind of like the opposite of the Jessica McClintock dresses. It's
yeah,
just it has that goth, Halloweenish,
yeah,
macabre
yeah.
kind of feel to it, and some of those actual Y2K Hot Topic. I don't think that store exists anymore. I
It
did
does,
a
but
Oh,
it's
it does. Okay.
yeah, it's just not as well, I don't know if it's as popular, but when I was in high school, it was very popular.
Right. And
Um,
yeah, so my kids were in middle school around that time, and we used to
yeah.
go to the mall so my daughter could shop, and my son was like, "Oh, we have to go in those dark, loud stores."
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
that's kind of it, Hot Topic was one of them.
Yeah, I had a like a emo goth phase a little bit in
Yeah,
high school but I was also preppy too, so I think it's interesting how preppy but also goth, kind of whimsy goth is like in style again because of the Y2K.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? You can be anything you want. You can change
Right.
your look anytime you
Yeah.
want. And why not?
Yeah.
How you feeling that
Yeah.
day? Oh, I'm feeling kind of emo, kind of goth.
Yeah.
Good for you. Okay. So how much did that sell for, the dress that you found at your home?
It sold for like 30. Yeah.
Okay.
But like if you have something, especially like Hollister, like certain styles can sell for a lot of money. Or like certain baggy jeans too can sell for.
Right. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. So it was, which ones? Hollister was big, American Eagle, Abercrombie and Fitch.
Yeah.
I don't remember a whole lot of them because I just didn't spend that much money on my kids' clothes.
No, yeah, I used to save like my lunch money and like I'll
Oh,
buy
you didn't even
a couple
eat.
pieces, a couple pieces here and there. But yeah, I mean, if I had known about thrifting back in high school, like I think how the younger generations are really smart now.
Yes, they're really embracing
Yeah,
it. Mhm.
they're
And I love
very,
that. I love that because you really can find anything you want if you look long enough.
oh
And
yeah,
I have a
definitely.
list in my phone of things I'm looking for me or for my home to remember to look for them. And eventually everything shows up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to be patient. You're not going to go one time and find everything on your list. It may take several months, but it'll pop in there. Oh, I've been looking for this, so good
Right.
for you. Yeah. What other sales have you had besides that amazing Rolex tie? I know you've had quite a few.
Collect a lot of blankets that I found, and I just recently started listing them, and those have been doing really well, like selling for about $80,
Oh, good.
the vintage ones.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about
Yeah.
like baby blankets or just regular blankets or all?
Like throws and like
Okay. Okay.
yeah, more kind of like outdoor style blankets too.
Okay. Do you want to
Yeah.
elaborate on that? Like what's selling for you?
Oh, the two that sold recently,
Like
or
the brand or the
oh
type?
yeah, I think I just posted the LL Bean one, the vintage one.
Okay.
That one's more of a like an outdoor stadium camp style.
Okay. Okay.
And then I sold a Pendleton blanket, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like it was just more of a wool plaid. It wasn't like a special one,
Right.
but that still sold for like $80. And then
Yeah, those are great. The Beaver State Southwest patterns, I think those are the holy grail
right.
of Pendleton, and it's sort of in your part of the country. So we don't see as many
Okay.
here in the South. I found a few, but it's a rare find. But yeah, that Beaver State, look for that tag for the listeners. Those are some of those can go for $300-400.
Yeah, and I think I like at least at the bins, I like to find like the kind of the crib kind of bib like quilted blanket.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Those, and if it's Disney, even if it's not vintage, it can still sell for like I sold one that was 40 recently,
Oh,
but they
good.
can sell for up to $100. I've sold
Mm-hmm.
one. I think I posted
Right.
in the group before.
Okay.
Um,
Good. And then Pottery Barn Kids, those are good too. Well, anything Pottery Barn if it's vintage, but I see those more often. I've started looking more at the linens.
yeah, I just hate listing it, so I've had it like I just recently started listing more blankets.
Yeah, they
And
are
then,
kind of labor intensive to photograph if you're laying them out
yeah,
or laying them on a bed or whatever. They're takes a little time.
yeah, so they're not, yeah, so, but you can make good money from them if it's,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Have you sold any that were damaged or are they all great
You
shape?
know what? They're all like the one I just recently sold had damaged, and I found an anthropology one recently
Oh,
at the
good.
bins.
Hmm.
So that one is also damaged. So I think people tend to steer away from damaged items, but if the item is still holds a lot of value, if it's like wool or vintage or has a name attached to it, I think it's still worth picking up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because the buyer could repair it. I think buyers like to rescue things like we do. Sometimes they don't care. I sell damaged stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's just if it's a good, high quality, durable item and it's got a little defect, that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What other kind of items have you sold?
I recently started like I don't know if I should count it, but I've been selling my dad's coin collection. And
Oh.
that's been a learning curve for myself in terms of like what's important to the buyers. So what's easy with his collection is that they're all new, so they come with the certificate of authenticity
Hmm.
in the box, and it tells you exactly like the weights and the grade and all things like that. But yeah, it's actually surprisingly has been pretty easy. I think people steer away from coins. I've seen some posts that people don't like selling coins, but I think in some ways, collectible coins, I've noticed that these buyers really cherish the coins, like they're
Hmm.
adding it to a collection or they have something that reminds them of it. So that's been, I mean, aside from the ones that are super valuable, have been like a learning curve in terms of like how to ship it and internationally.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it's been really easy.
Well, I think people are just overwhelmed because it's such a specific category like stamps or record albums or sports cards that are graded. I think that is what keeps people away is they're like, well, I don't know anything about that. Is your dad able to help you with details about these coins?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I just do a lot of the research and it's on a lot of the sites where they're minted. So
Okay.
I think that's important, like understanding like where it's minted. A lot of times, like the grading, the type of if it's silver, if it's pipe fort, things like that. Those things add up in terms of the value.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
So yeah, you just lost me on some of that because I'm the same way. It's like
yeah.
that's a lot of stuff I don't know about. So we tend to gravitate towards what we know and what we're comfortable with. But when you push yourself out of your comfort zone is when you learn new stuff. So I commend you on that because I mean coins really aren't the most exciting product.
Right,
They kind of, you know, to the untrained eye, they kind of all look the same.
right.
Has the increase in gold and silver prices helped you with sales?
I would think that helps, but it's just I'm not this is not my area of expertise. So
Mhm.
I'm still like really learning because for a while I was trying to sell it and like nothing was really happening. But I think maybe with the value of silver, it's been more of a push to buy coins. So I think
Right.
that is a factor with coin selling right now.
Okay. Well, good to know that you're learning about that product line. I think it takes some guts to dive into that.
It does. Look, I actually have one that they would not let me ship out through DHL.
Really?
Yeah, because of I think there's a risk of I think getting it through customs and they still see collectible coins as currency. So you run the risk of that if it's on
Oh, right. Okay.
and if it's going to certain countries, that's even more like with all the tariffs happening right now, it
Right.
becomes a very sticky situation. So my experience, anything under, I would say 2000's been safe, but anything over that, that's where you get into some dangerous territory in
Hmm.
terms of like dealing with customs and just getting the item safely to the customer.
Right.
Anything international. So it's a whole different ball game that
So what is, if you don't mind sharing, the highest dollar coin sale that you've had so far?
the one I couldn't ship out. The it was about 2,800.
Really? But you
Yeah.
could, it can only be sold domestically.
No, I sold it internationally, but I got away with it the first time. Before things got, I think, even more trickier right now, like with tariffs. So I think that's what they're really
So what
got me.
happened? You made the sale and then you
I had to basically refund the buyer because I couldn't fulfill the item to them. So they just would not let me ship it. And I didn't want to run the because I had tried through UPS, but I run the risk of losing it and it's just not worth the
what
risk.
country was the buyer in?
It was in Hong Kong, but it
Okay.
was because they're British coins, so like a lot of these
Okay.
are either
Yeah.
going to the UK
I
or
wonder why eBay didn't filter that out. It was through the eBay international shipping, right?
well, I just for me something that valuable, I don't necessarily want to like oh no, there's a certain value you can't yeah, you can't ship.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
It was the
through that.
value, not the location.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Okay.
not the location, it's the value. So then
Okay.
at that point you have to outsource your shipping. Neither one of DHL or UPS was an option really. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I don't know if you saw that Maggie sold that Asian dress or whatever it was, either 5,600 or 6,500, something like that. And she ran into the same thing because it maxed out. It was over the limit of what can go through the eBay shipping program.
Yeah, so you when it comes to coins, you really run the risk. Like I would almost say a safe amount is probably like 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Be very safe about it.
Mm-hmm.
But over that, you really run the risk of
So
like
then you just don't put international shipping on the item if the value is too high. It's just domestic only.
yeah, I would say you'd have to only do domestic.
So that's a good tip for the listeners if you didn't know that. And so what's the price threshold? 2,000? Okay, I can look that
Yeah.
up and
Yeah.
put it in at the end because that's important to know.
It's the first time I've encountered this with learning how to sell these coins that like there is a threshold like you do run the risk like at certain like you want to sell high dollar items but not too high dollar where you're
Right,
really running the
exactly. Yeah,
risk.
you're only covered
Yeah.
so far. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Still, congratulations on that sale.
Yeah. Yeah,
Good.
so, but yeah, it's been a I've been enjoying selling like domestically like the lower dollar ones. Yeah, it just feels like it's a whole new category for me
Mhm.
that I'm actually enjoying. So I'm thinking maybe eventually I'll look for my own coins to sell. That's
Right.
not
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Once you've learned on your
Yeah.
dad's stuff. I had that same experience when I first started in 2003. My mom had moved in with me. She had hip surgery and she had all her stuff in the basement. And we just started going through it because I knew I was going to have to do it one day. So I'm like, well, let's do it now. And you can
Yeah,
have the
exactly.
money. I learned a lot about what sells and what I do and don't want to ship and how long things take to sell and kinds of questions people ask. So I could be proactive and put that in the listing next time for that type of item. So it is sort of free education when you are learning on somebody else's stuff. I mean, that's why consignment is good at first because you're exposed to so many things that you wouldn't see out in the wild. But then after a while, you're like, okay, I'm ready to take off the training wheels and do this myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Any other sales you want to talk about?
I do really well with men's clothing, so I think surprisingly a lot of Hawaiian shirts that are worth a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Okay.
I sold a Tommy Bahama Disney haunted house.
Oh, yes.
That
Okay.
one for about 150.
Yeah, that Disney
Yeah.
haunted house theme on anything. What's it called? The Haunted Mansion? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that one is popular.
Yeah, and I sell a lot of rain spooners,
Yes. Uh-huh.
a lot of like college ones. I noticed that, like right now before, with college football, like I sold a starter jacket of 49ers for about 100.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it's seasonal, but if also you have like when it comes to Hawaiian shirts, if you have like the right decade,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just have to, again, trust your gut. Like I sold one, I had no idea anything about. I just knew it was like probably from the 60s. And
Mm-hmm.
that one I sold. Okay.
Do you have any involvement with Jason Smith out there? Does he do any kind of meetups or anything? Do you know who that is?
I don't know. I don't.
Okay, he was a pioneer in the eBay world. I think it was called Thrifting with the Boys, and it was him and somebody else, but it's just him now. And his thing was Hawaiian shirts.
Oh,
and
okay. I
he's
think
in
I've heard
Vegas.
about him.
He's
Yeah.
in Vegas, and it was just like I would listen to their I guess it was a podcast and maybe their videos, or they were on eBay radio, different things like that. And he was very into the Hawaiian shirts and knowing all about them. And I'm like, I never find anything like that here. Maybe every now and then I'll find like a crappy one from Kmart that is not worth anything, but something about Vegas and Hawaiian shirts. What's going on
Well,
with
mainly
that?
California, I would say, where because I'm still trying to figure out what I'm finding here. Actually, in
Okay.
Vegas, I find more vintage Levi's.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, how vintage? Like the Big E's?
not that vicious, but I have I do have one in my death pile that I found in San Diego. But you can find a lot of Hawaiian shirts in California.
Right.
I thrifted in Hawaii last year thinking I was gonna find aloha shirts everywhere. It wasn't actually that abundant in terms of like finding good ones, and then they're all overpriced there. But if you're in like California, they're more abundant and you'll more likely to stumble upon like ones that are worth picking up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But in Vegas, I'm noticing that I'm finding better vintage items, like
Okay.
vintage jeans and or or good like outdoor wear. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure it out because I still bring a lot to from LA to Vegas.
Okay. So you're still kind
Yeah.
of back and forth.
Yeah.
So the Hawaiian shirts, I know the brand Ray and Spooner, and for the listeners, REYNSPOONER.
Yeah.
That's kind of the holy grail of Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, so a lot of with that category, the ones you want to look out for are like the college ones. So they make a lot of for college, and then I
Oh,
think
like collaborations.
yeah, and then they did a collaboration with Snoopy, and that one I sold for a
Oh,
hundred.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
And there's another brand, Hilo has.
I think if you're finding the more vintage ones, those are worth a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really come across the good ones. Some Hawaiian shirts, if they're vintage and it doesn't have a brand necessarily, but it has a really good pattern.
Right. It's a cool looking shirt.
Yeah, so that one
Mhm.
I found a 60s vintage one. That one I sold also for a hundred. And that one didn't have a brand. It's probably like $5. But sometimes you just have to trust your gut that like
Right. I was going to
have
say
something
that's one of
good.
those intuitive measures where, oh, this looks vintage and maybe it was made in USA, where you can tell the decade it was made by where it was made, or made in
Yeah.
Taiwan or Hong Kong or something like that, where that's a clue on how to figure out the age. You can also go to the Vintage Fashion Guild, something like that, Fashion Guild, and they have a huge catalog of garment labels. Do you know about this site?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So just for the listener, you've got Google Lens, so you can drop a picture of it in there. But if you don't find what you're looking for, which sometimes that happens, then you can go to this Vintage Fashion Guild, and you just look up the brand, and it just lays out. Okay, in the 60s, it was looked like this. From 75 to 85, it looked like this. And you can really narrow down the decade. And that will definitely help you get a better price if you know exactly when it was made. Because it doesn't always say on the tag what the year
Sometimes
it was made.
there isn't really a tag left too.
Right.
Sometimes
There's
it's
hard,
that
or you can't read it. It's been
yeah.
washed so many times, it's just like it's just faded and you can't read in the information. Yeah.
Or sometimes they'll have a like an old tag like it'll say like made in California or things like that. But I think for me, I gravitate towards patterns. So if it
Mhm.
has a really good pattern, then I'll definitely like look into picking it up.
Well,
But
and I'm like
yeah,
that too on everything. It's just like this is cool looking. Somebody's gonna love this. But
yeah,
it's
exactly.
a dog breed. I sold a sweater before Christmas. It was Scotty dogs all over a sweater. I mean, it wasn't even listed for a few days. It was like $1. and I sold it for 20 or 25. But people love those dog breeds,
Yeah.
and or something very specific like tacos, or something that people love, bubblegum, or it doesn't even matter what brand it is, because people go on eBay to find cool, unusual, unique stuff that not everybody is wearing. People strive to be different, and that's what eBay is good for.
Or sometimes it's worn by like a famous person. Like I
Mhm.
found recently the one that the birds of paradise.
Is that a Hawaiian shirt, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, Paradise Found. So there's one shirt that Tom Selleck wore.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very famous. And that one I found not like back in December. And I knew immediately. I was like, okay,
Okay, good.
that's a famous one.
I'm going to look that up so I can see what it looks like. But you're right. We talked about the canyon robes in one of the previous episodes that was worn by Fran Drescher on The Nanny. And then there's another one of those that Brad Pitt wore in Fight Club. So that's why the prices are jacked up on those. It's like was worn in a movie or by a famous person. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, because I normally don't pick up Paradise Found, but colorway pattern, that's the one that you want to look for because it was in
Okay.
magazine. Yeah.
All
And then
right.
also Trader Joe's as well.
Yes, absolutely. I have in one of my books the Trader Joe's shopping bags, just because some of them were made only for a limited time, or it's a specific city. There's something special about it. So anytime
Yeah.
you see a Trader Joe's anything, check it out. Have you sold any Trader Joe's stuff?
Yeah, I've sold multiple Hawaiian shirts in the
Okay.
past.
Well,
I
and
found one recently.
they have like t-shirts and like the work aprons, and just people love that brand. Yeah, always look that up, or heck, if it's just $1, just get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, can we take a few minutes to talk a little bit more about your experience in the entertainment industry and what kinds of things are sought after?
Yeah, yeah. Especially for, let's say, I mean, it could be anything really. That's the beauty of working in entertainment that you really don't know what you're going to be looking for sometimes.
Okay.
Depending on the story, the time period, all that kind of plays into. I think one show that I was on for a good amount of time was, that movie series or a movie franchise, Paranormal Activity.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I remember watching the third one and being like, oh, it'd be so fun to work on because it was like two time periods. It was like the 80s, but then
Mm-hmm.
on modern day. And so it was funny to be able to work in both houses and like one was the 80s and one was modern day. And but a lot of the decorator would buy, from Etsy and eBay things
Mm-hmm.
that, like those Santa blow up
Oh,
light.
the blow molds. Yeah.
Yeah, the blow molds. Yeah.
Mhm.
So anything that's like really hard to find, like especially vintage items. But in the entertainment industry, we have prop houses. So a
Right.
lot of times it's with time and just budgetary reasons, like we have a certain budget to meet,
Mm-hmm.
that it makes sense to rent most of the stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if we just can't find the item, I remember one time I worked on a movie and we were looking for a very specific Playboy. And so, because,
Oh.
a lot of times, you have to get things cleared
Mm-hmm.
before you can even use it, things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so we were able to get a certain specific cover cleared to use. And so I had to find a very specific one. And I only found it at like a pawn shop. And sometimes that's our only option, really. But if we have more time, like bigger budget movies, then
Mm-hmm.
you have the luxury to like, get items shipped
Right.
online. Because that's usually the hard factor is that you need things right away and you don't really have the luxury to wait. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the one thing that kind of hinders from buying on eBay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you've probably heard that when I watch movies, I look in the background. and see what they have. I watched a movie the other day called The Long Walk Home with Sissy Spacek and Whoopi Goldberg, and it was set during the civil rights movement time. And so Whoopi is their maid, and their kitchen is just, I mean, every single appliance, countertop appliance that was made in the late 50s, early 60s. And I forget if they're that turquoise or pink, but it's like the mixer and the blender and all those. And I'm just fascinated. And I'm just like pausing it and looking back there.
Yeah.
Where did they get all this stuff to make this? It's an older movie. I love anything Sissy Spacek is in, but and of course the clothes and the hairstyles and the furniture. It's the sort of minimalist Danish type furniture, and it's just perfectly done to be set in that time period. And my mind just goes to, where'd they get this stuff? Did they buy any of this on eBay?
Well, a lot of decorators do the same thing as resellers, where, unfortunately, a lot of their time is spent at estate sales or garage sales a lot of times because they're looking for something specific. I remember working on one of my last shows. I was in that in between where I was a reseller and working on different shows. And I remember, going to a really good antique shop that was closing up. And so things were selling 75% off
Ooh,
pretty much.
nice.
Like it was really cheap. And I was lucky to be able to find vintage hardware that we were building a set. And so I was just happened to be lucky to be able to find that while I was still trying to like find these items there. Um, but I was lucky in terms of like they had a whole Disney collection.
Hmm.
So I pretty much bought out their whole Disney collection that I still have most of it. Yeah. I think having both of like being in those both worlds
Yes, exactly. Now you are not working in the entertainment industry anymore. What is your, I guess, daytime job?
was I was transitioning into tech, and now tech and both industries are kind of boom and bust, I'd like to say. And
Mhm.
right now they're both in sort of their bust period with
Okay.
tech is being hit with AI and things like that.
Mhm.
But what's interesting is that my skills, I was trying to get into tech, and actually I did some case studies around Poshmark that helped me land a role at Meta on their Facebook Marketplace team.
Oh,
I
okay.
worked on their team for a little bit, and then I was at actually eBay Motors for a little bit too.
Okay.
So yeah, so I've it's interesting how a lot of times people they don't realize that I was a reseller first when
Mhm.
when I worked at eBay on their corporate team. So, but I'm in kind of this liminal space where I'm not sure if I've been a designer for almost 20 years, so it's hard to let go of that. So
Mhm.
I do want to continue with that, and either I'm thinking either like I get back into my painting because when I was in entertainment, I would have to make a lot of my own paintings
Okay.
for clearance reasons, and then from there, a lot of times, like ever since high school, people have been buying my paintings.
Well, you
So,
are a very
yeah,
well-rounded individual with artistic skills, business skills, reselling skills, tech skills.
yeah, yeah.
Is there anything you don't do?
Um,
You cook.
I do cook, yeah.
Okay. That kind of goes along with being an
Yeah.
artist.
So part of me is like, I still want to keep that alive, but
Mhm.
I'm so kind of in this new move. Where I'm trying to figure out like how I want to kind of nurture that artistic side of me. So, and I think part of me would like to also maybe sell artwork on eBay. So I've seen some do really
Wonderful.
well with that because it's a skill I'm just like I've also taken for granted that I do really fast and well. So and
Mhm.
people have bought my stuff in the past. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yes. And I want to encourage you to do that. One of my new categories for 2026 is going to be artwork. That is something I have not delved into. I see it all the time. And I'm talking about Bob Ross style paintings that people do. And
Yeah.
they're just at Goodwill. They're not huge to ship. They're not framed. start
Exactly.
small. And I just feel like all these people that have Airbnbs, you know, Verbo rentals, they have
Mhm.
to decorate them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And where are they
Yeah.
going to get the stuff? And maybe it's a fishing cabin. And so they're going to want all this fish stuff to go in there, or a beach place. And it just seems like it would be easier for them to go online and buy some stuff than to be out hunting for it. Although some people love to do that. Oh, I need to go find artwork for my beach house and, knick-knacky stuff. But I want to see if that can work. I see what other people sell. It doesn't have to be a famous artist. It just is like, oh, that's a cool painting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
And so,
16 by
yeah.
20 or smaller, or the canvas art that people
Mhm.
do. And just that's my experiment, because some of these things I see for 50 cents at Goodwill because it's not framed and it's not glass, and you just put it between two pieces of cardboard and ship it. And so I'm just like very curious about what kind of stuff would sell, how much
Mhm.
will they pay? Is this something that will work? So I'm on board with you selling your artwork.
Yeah, yeah. So that's, and I kind of like was thinking, oh, okay, I could probably use the same strategy in terms of like different styles. Like, everyone has a different style of home that they have,
Mm-hmm.
just as their wardrobe. So I can apply the same thing in terms of the style of paintings that I make.
Have
And
you ever
yeah,
stayed at an Airbnb?
yeah. I've
So
stayed.
yeah, I've done quite a
Yeah,
few over the years, and they're all just, I think they have guidelines they have to go by for the decor. They want it to be minimal and clean and that kind of thing. But I've seen some pretty unique pieces in the different homes. And it's like, of course, again, I wonder where they got this.
yeah, yeah. So I'm just thinking, and a lot of, if it's like more modern, I've been following another artist who does it full time, and so I'm seeing that there's a model you can kind of follow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do want to eventually explore that as well.
Good. Well, I'm glad you have big plans for the future, and you're seeing the opportunities, because that's important in this business, to be able to recognize opportunities. So, okay, well, we have made it to the end of our time. Do you have any last words?
I would just say, sell what you enjoy and don't be afraid to venture out in different categories. Even if it can be a little scary. I think
Mm-hmm.
it helps you, I think in this economy and just in general with eBay with all the changes, like it helps to diversify in terms of what categories you're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And people who know me know that I did clothing. I did a lot of clothing, still do, but since I moved, it's just not cost effective to pay $7 for something and sell it for 20.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
another reason I'm looking at different products. Is okay, this is 50 cents and I can sell it for $25, and it's a coffee mug, or it's a IKEA bowl or something like that, where I just need to get over it on the shipping breakables. I know how to do it, but I just need to get over that roadblock because
I
the
know I
flea
have the same.
market is just getting so expensive. And
Yeah, I had
it's
the
just
same
not,
roadblock too because
yeah, it's just not
yeah.
cost effective to, if I'll pay $7 for something I can sell for 50, but it's pushing me into new areas, which I'm okay with. I've learned a lot along the way in the last 23 years, and there's so much more to learn. So you just got to keep tipping your toe in the water of new things and see where it goes.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm trying to delve into the artwork like you were saying because that
Mhm.
one is more controllable because we don't have control over thrift prices.
Right,
So it's kind of a way to gain more agency of what I can kind of sell right now.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully, if we both keep looking at the artwork, we will find something that sells for $1,000.
I know there's gotta be because I feel like that's one of those categories that gets overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did sell. a piece of art a couple of years ago. It was, I think they called it woodblock art or something when I was in the Midwest, and it was on an online auction. I think I paid $10 for it. It was a local artist in that area, and it sold for 275 in
Oh,
just a
wow.
couple of days. So I know what the potential is. It's just, I don't care how long you've been doing this, there's always more to learn, always
Yeah.
new categories. And, the more you know about what's in front of you, the faster you can make a decision to buy it for resale. Or it's that confidence of just knowing
Yeah,
that
exactly.
helps
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what are you up to this afternoon?
Probably just more listing and yeah.
eBay
I
day for you.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's another eBay day. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're waiting on about 6 inches of snow here in South Carolina. So I am going to run to the store for a few things. And I went to Goodwill yesterday and got a whole bunch of stuff. So I'll just be inside watching the snow, working on my stuff. I don't have to go anywhere. So, well, thanks again for taking the time to chat. And we will look for your sales on the Facebook group.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
It's great to meet you.
Yeah, same here.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's clear up some things about eBay International Standard Delivery. To be eligible for the International Shipping Program, you need to meet the following requirements, and this is straight from the eBay help pages. You must be above standard or be top rated. You must be eligible for seller protections, low or average service metrics, and compliant with all eBay rules and policies. The following requirements apply to items shipped through eBay International Shipping. Items must be physically located in the USA and listed on eBay.com. Items are eligible for export. And these are automated qualifications, so if you don't qualify, the listing form will not let you put this on there. It will be rejected. So you don't really have to know. The one that I wanted to focus on is the cost of the order does not exceed 2,500 US dollars, including shipping. So that dollar amount is something I've never encountered because I've never sold anything that was that high dollar. But you never know when that's going to pop up for you. Packages must not exceed 48 inches in length, 84 inches in length and girth, 44 pounds in billable weight for all countries except Canada, where the maximum weight is 66 pounds. So that was very dry and boring, I know, but wanted to clarify the dollar amount of the item so that if you should run into that, you now know there is a limit, $2,500. Okay, next week my guest is Sue Ann, who is a repeat offender and a regular poster on the Facebook group. She was on the podcast in July of 23, and she has special knowledge of toys and educational products due to her long career as a speech pathologist. So make sure you tune in to follow her journey and learn about more things to sell. And thank you once again for listening and supporting this podcast. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and happy Valentine's Day if that is a holiday you celebrate. I will be celebrating Galentine's Day. So that's kind of a thing now. But really, I personally celebrate on February 15th when all the candy's on sale. Take care, everybody, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.